Hello, and today we will be doing the Block Wars Origins of Rookies teams review. And before we get into it, I have a few things to say. One, there's probably a decent amount of people who are new who I don't know their skill level, so I apologize. Also, if I mispronounce your name. And two, a few weeks ago, I won Hive Wildcard 8 with a bunch of cool people. So I just wanted to say that as well. But otherwise, let's get into it. First up, we have Team Ohio with Celestial Rain, Cobberton, Ironstar, Bunny Her, and Not Souls. Now, first off, I hate this team name. Why? In everything. I just hate it. But other than that, this team is like pretty like solid. Obviously, I don't know their skill level entirely, but they're definitely not a team to be like, oh, they're pretty weak. No, this could be like a potentially scary team. Now, Aiden has not played Block Wars in a while, but did that stop him from doing well in PV? No. So I definitely think Aiden could do pretty decent here, especially with obviously not as good as a roster as usual. And he did win his last event on a blue team. And then we have Dakota as well, who also won her last event on a blue team, which is very funny. And she definitely can do like very well. Maybe not like top half, because obviously there's still a lot of good people, but I think she can definitely rank top 30. And then we have Jack, who didn't do that bad last event. Sure, there were some games where he did not do quite too well in, like PvP, but otherwise he did like quite solid in a lot of the other games. So that'll definitely like help. And then we have Carverton and Bunher, and I don't know how well they are, how skilled they are. So I'm gonna assume they're pretty decent, but I really don't know their skill set, unfortunately. So yeah, as far as games that they can do in, I think it's like I don't think they're gonna be like too strong in movement. Move is in this roster, and that is not a very good game. But I definitely think they could do quite well in like PvP games and party as well. Like me, like extraction and party, I think they can do quite well in. But next up, we have Team Ramsay with Demo, Yuri Dice 123, SMK 64, Ziandiria, and Master Gar. Now, this team will be cooking. I'm not biased. No. Although their team is literally named after Gordon Ramsay, so I'm technically not wrong. Anyway, SMK obviously couldn't compete in Origins 27 because scheduling problems, which is fair. I'm not open sometimes for events and stuff, so it makes sense. But other than that, he did very well last event. Even if we look at like the small bit that happened in Origins 26, he still did quite well. He got top 10 in Trailblazers, and he did quite decent in race as well. Maybe like not like top 10, but pretty close. I think he got like 13th. That's pretty good though. And those are definitely more like movement related games, obviously, but that's still well. And the event before that, he also did very well in PP. So overall, he's just been doing very well lately. Then we have Garv, who isn't like the best at PvP at times, but he definitely can pull his weight. And sometimes he is very strong at PvP and can be very good. So he's definitely something to look out for. And his last event, well, it wasn't a top 10 performance. It was darn pretty close. And then we have Yuri, who unfortunately last event had to get subbed out midway because wrist problems. But even then, I think she can still do well this event. There's definitely not as many like strong players. So I definitely think she can thrive more. Obviously, she can still do very well in games like Blitz Hunt and all that. And then we have Andiria, who think she did pretty well last event. Even though it was on a team that wasn't predicted to do the strongest, she still held her own. And then obviously we have Demu, who I have no idea either, but I think they're also like pretty okay. Now, as far as games that I think they can win, I think that movement will be where it's at for them. Maybe not like race, but I think move could do like very well. And with like the party roster, I definitely think they can do well. PvP, I mean, for me, everything is 50-50 with PvP, but I definitely can see them doing very well in Extraction. That's definitely like a very good team for Extraction, possibly. But yeah. Next up, we have Team Spoons with John from Down Pub, Lyric, Dong Fortnite, That One Yellow Cat, and Jack Cass. Now, Jack did amazing in his first ever Block Wars Origins. He got like 16th, which is very impressive. Like, holy moly. Especially for first Block Wars. So, I'm curious on how he'll do in his second ever Block Wars. And then we have Sam, who obviously just all rounded very well. Maybe more towards movement than PvP, specifically Battle. Battle does not go well for him most of the time. But he's definitely a very strong player. And I would say he's one of the best for this event, as there's not as many people on his skill in this event. And then we have Desert, who hasn't done the best in the few events he's in, but there's definitely been some games where he's done pretty decent in that he can be very scary in. Extraction, I think, is not a bad game for him. I think it's gone pretty well from him. And then we have the two newcomers, who again I don't know too much about. I feel like I've seen one of them before in another event, but I don't remember. So yeah, as far as games, this team will dominate. I think this is another like movement heavy team with all of them. Obviously, Jack has only played one event, so he could be sued as far as stats go. But obviously, this roster is not as heavy with the players. And then obviously, Sam, strong move player, just strong movement player in general. Same goes with Party. And obviously, Desert, like I said earlier, Extraction. And for the other two, I'm not so sure. But yeah. Next up, we have Team Salad with Nominal Gravy, Chaos Corpse, Itzigles Pickles, Wade Box, and Nomad World. Now, this is the infamous MCC Rising 2 Line Llamas, plus Pickles. Pickles is there. As far as this team goes, Pickles has done on and off. He has not played as much Block Wars as of recently compared to before, and say like the beginning of Origin Series 2, where he was in like essentially every event. But he's still a very strong player, as we can see, and especially in this format, he can definitely do way more good, especially in PvP games, although not as strong as before. He's still very good at extraction, and obviously, battle is a battle. For movement, on the other hand, he's not as good, but he can still do very decent. And then we have the rest of the team, who've all obviously never played a Block Wars, but we do have other events to look at to sort of tell from their performance. Now, they've all competed in Mayhem before, I'm pretty sure, and they've all had like mixed performances. I can't really remember all of them because Mayhem, it is not as easy for me to remember her stats and stuff, but they're all pretty decent. Nominal obviously is very crazy. Obviously, his first Mayhem, it was not the best, but after that, he did significantly well. So the team's definitely got comms on their side. That's what I will say. I think if they are able to learn the games very well, they could easily destroy games like Extraction, like Order Up. Maybe not so much Construction, because even though Construction is a team game, it's also like very skill dependent, way more skill dependent than like probably most of the games. But yeah, I definitely think if they can learn the games, there's no stopping this team. This team could curve through basically everyone. They obviously have Piggles, who is definitely going to be a very strong leader here. And just overall, this team, as long as they communicate well, understand the games, it's pretty simple for them. And yeah. Next up, we have Team Shinx with Wilbert, Space Brownies, Ogarfield, Key Shinx, and Sarah. Now, this is a pretty interesting team. I honestly, this team could go either way because obviously not as many good players, which means they can do super well. And obviously, they have a strong leader in Ogar, who is very strong in basically everything. He obviously used to not be as strong and used to get like in like the middle of Origin Series 2, he would always get like around 20th or at least for some form. But now he's like consistent top 10. Oh, he's definitely going to be a very strong player, and especially for this event, especially in movement related games. Obviously, Move is back. Trip was got benched, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. And yeah, and he's definitely I feel like he's a sleeper PvPer. He can be very scary. There's some about this team. They have a lot of experience on their side. Maybe not like super a lot, but they have probably way more experience than the rest of the other teams. Then we have Space, who did not do the best on Team Yippee, but obviously we've seen them do good before. They can do well. They've done pretty good in previous events, and I think they can pull through, especially in like when you need them to, in like games like Battle or more communication based games. And then we have Wilbert, who I believe the last team was Team Coco, which was a very interesting team for construction. But he's definitely not a bad player. He can definitely pull his weight in games, and overall, he's just like all rounded to me. Like he can go very crazy in certain games. Spleef, obviously, that could be a very strong game for him at times. And yeah. And then we have Sarah, who I don't remember her. Oh no, 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 no. I don't know how well she did last event because I didn't watch last event. I was busy. But she definitely didn't do that bad. She definitely was able to pull her weight in the games she needed to. And she's definitely a player who can do very well with comms. And then we have Key. Now Key's had mixed performances. They can do like pretty decent, and sometimes they just fall short. I think he can do very well here. This team has like I think this is a very vibey team. So I think they'll allow Key to do like well. Like possibly top half. If not, at least top 30. So yeah, as far as games, I really couldn't tell you much because this seems like an all-rounded team to me. They're just not like too weak in anything. I definitely think construction could be strong, maybe even order up. But otherwise, I think they're with their experience, they'll just do like solid overall. Next up, we have Team Booyah with Sleepy the Frog, DJ PB&J, Dutch J, Sakura Radio, and Toxicology Over. Now, this team, as far as experience goes, it's very wide. Sleepy has not played that many events. He's only played two. And then we have Jay, who hasn't played that many events recently, although they have played a few events, so that does help. And on the older events. And then we have Saki, who's been like varying in the amount of like recent events. And then DJ played very recently in 25, which was their first ever Luck Words ever, and they did win. He did do like pretty decent event. His team was obviously like pretty strong to back him up, but I still think he can do like well overall, even then. He did like pretty solid in every game. Maybe more strong in like PvP, like an extraction and such, but even then he did pretty well. And then we have Jay, whose last event was also Origins 25, and they did like pretty decent overall. I don't think they had like any like super duper strong games, but they overall they just did pretty solid in like all the games. I don't remember any like game that was like too strong for them. Maybe they did well in extraction. I don't remember, but overall they've had a lot of experience and they definitely can help out a lot here. And then we have Saki, who did win last event and did get her PB for placement. So she definitely has that like momentum with her of that good placement and like strong team performance last time. So I definitely think she can pull her weight. There's definitely games where she can do well in or just adapt well. Her team did do very well in battle last time because they had like a solid strategy and they were all like pulling their weight decently. She didn't do like half bad. Same with like other games. Like I didn't think she did quite bad in Blitzon as well. So she can definitely be like a very strong, outstanding player. And then we have Toxic. Now Toxic, I don't. I know they were an MCC tester. I don't know if they still are. I'm pretty sure they are. I don't remember how good they were, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty decent. And they're leaning more towards like movement. So overall, this seems like a like strong move team. We also have Sleepy, who I don't remember how well they did last event, but they did pretty well. She also pulled her weight, and yeah. Next up, we have Team Bingle with Mystic Sins, Lantastic, Actual Narwhal, Fanboy Eye, and Matty Awesome. Though this is kind of like a sleeper team. All these people have done well in previous events and can definitely pull their weight and do incredible. Ain't recently has been doing amazing. Like he's been getting like consistent top halves, which is pretty insane because obviously statistics aren't everything, but still, even if you look at the statistical last events, like in like the midway through Origins Series 2, they weren't doing like the best. But now they're getting like consistent top half, which is incredible. They actually do good in games like Order Up and such. Just adapting well in general. Then we have Narwhal, who's just like an all over the place player. He can get top 10, and sometimes he doesn't, but he's definitely someone to look out for, especially in those games like Blitz Hut or Move. They can be like sneaky good, like very out of nowhere. And then we have Lan, who has had like varying events. Most of them haven't been the best, but I definitely think he can do well enough to top half. And he's definitely built for it. Maybe he doesn't think that, but I think he can do it. Like overall, he's just like solid, like well-rounded in general. Nothing too weak. Maybe PvP sometimes, but on like the right teams, this team is also like another strong communication team. They all know each other like pretty well. Gives them an edge and can help out a ton. So I think that's another edge. Then we have Mystic, whose team did pretty well last event, and they also did like pretty decent. I think they did decent in games like Party and Hunt. Obviously, I don't know because I didn't watch last event. But yeah, and then we have me, who I have heard of, and I think they're okay at the game. I've never seen them play Minecraft though. That's the one thing. I don't know how good they are at Minecraft, but maybe not so movement heavy, but more on the like team game side. So as far as games, this seems like another like I feel like Spleef. This seems like a very good Spleef team. That is another game that could go like either way, but I can definitely see it. They could definitely pop off and sleep. And again, team games, not construction, but order up. And last but not least, we have Team Yapper with No Name, Carter, Danny Pasho, Reflex GG, and Chaos 21A. Now Carter was meant to play in Origin 27. Well, 26, but yeah. But he wasn't able to. But even though he hasn't been able to play most of the recent events he was supposed to be in because his internet died after game 1 in Origins 25, or not 25, 24. But otherwise, he in other events he's just been incredible, just like completely dominating. He's been going crazy, and I think that momentum will carry over to Block Wars. He's very strong at PvP and good at just everything in general. Maybe not as strong in team games, but otherwise he's just solid. We have Chaos, who I remember making a diss track on Kel, but he hasn't gone top 10 no Block Wars and top 8 EV in a while, so yeah. But anyway, he's definitely a sleeper PvP player. He's proven himself as someone who can dominate PvP. So he's definitely very scary on that end. And then we have No Name, who did not get last event. Uh he did pretty okay in the games in general. He didn't do the worst, But yeah. And then we have the two newcomers. Though I have heard of Danny because they're a PB person. I don't know much other than that. I think they're okay at the game. I have seen them play or be a player for Mario Party or I meant that Chaos host that was on Saituxin. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah. They're like a pretty decent player. I don't know how well they are at Minecraft because I've never watched them play, but I think they can do pretty well, especially in this roster. I don't know their strengths, but again, I feel like they'll do just pretty decent overall. And then we have Reflex, who I don't really know. I feel like they're also just like another like just decent player. Not for games. This team's a battle team. I'm sorry. This team's just PvP. They're very strong PvP. And especially extraction. Battle is 50-50. But otherwise, this is just like a very strong PvP team. And I definitely think they can still do well in other games as well.
I don't have arrows.
And that is it for this Block Wars Origins
I do.
Rookies
There's
team.
a blue island here. We should
If
hold
you
it.
enjoyed, make sure to like and maybe even subscribe.
I don't have
I didn't
arrows.
say
I
it
don't
in
have
the
arrows.
intro. For once.
I have 6 arrows. So...
I said it at the outro.
Okay, loot this island if
They
you
have
can.
good. They have good loot.
Anyway.
Yeah, just try and loot.
And
Wait,
busy
craft.
lately, which is why
Take
this
this.
is coming out late.
I don't know if you have it.
Oh, this.
But
thank
Well,
you.
spring
the
break
pink team
is
moved
coming
away.
soon,
We need to watch
so
our other side.
I probably
need-
might
Here, yeah, I have
other
some armor for you.
during
Thank
that time.
I don't
I
have
don't
any
know
arrows,
what it
though.
will be.
Cobra,
But
you got chain leggings?
I'm hoping
Oh, Ogar can
it
give us some
does.
arrows.
to be not Origins related
watching
because
our
side?
that's been the last few.
Here, Ogar.
No one's
I wanna
contesting
obviously
I
change it
I
up.
don't see anyone.
But yeah, thanks for watching.
Where is everyone?
And
Gone.
again,
I don't know. I feel like other
goodbye.
people probably.